For real, you're sitting in traffic and you're like, I hate my life. Oh, there's some ice
I
cream.
really did. It's Old Shell Road here in Mobile, 5 o'clock traffic. It's miserable. And I had to go up this street every single day. And I was like, this is miserable. All these people over here are happy. I'm going to go pull over and get one. And I was like, it's like the skies opened up. Colors got more. It's just like, it was an experience. It wasn't about the pop at that point. I was like, man, I was just miserable. Now I'm smiling. It's like, there's something to this.
Do you remember when you were a kid and you got a popsicle or ice cream on a hot summer day? And do you remember the joy you felt in that moment? It's like everything else in the world was on pause. Well, on today's episode, you'll learn how Cliff Kennedy has taken that joy, packaged it into little gourmet popsicles, and turned it into one of the fastest growing ice cream truck franchises in the world. Welcome to another episode of Nikonomics, the show for entrepreneurs and wantrepreneurs curious to learn how other businesses work. I am your host and Chief Curiosity Officer, Nicholas Haluski. I've owned and operated more than a dozen businesses, generating $30 million a year in revenue and employing more than 300 people. I recently sold most of my holdings, and I'm trying to figure out what's next. So now I spend my days talking to as many business owners as I can to understand their business models and learn their founding stories. Well, today, I'm obsessed with just one question. How the frick did Cliff Kennedy bootstrap his modern-day ice cream truck franchisor to 8 figures and 111 locations in 5 years? You'll have to watch to find out. Enjoy. All right, Cliff, welcome to Nikonomics. Stoked to have you. Why don't you give us just a brief introduction? What is your business? How do you make money?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Nick. I appreciate this. Long time coming. So Frios Gourmet Pops, we're the modern day ice cream truck. That's as simple as it. We sell happiness through popsicles in a franchise business. Can't get more complicated than that.
I freaking love that. We sell happiness through popsicles.
Yeah.
Okay, give me just a general idea. Like, how big is the business right now from a brand perspective? Like, how many locations do you have? How many are coming online? How long have you been around?
Yeah, so we've got a strong pipeline. We sold 20 year to date. We've got 111 territories sold across the country. And that's about 70 franchisees.
How long have you been operating?
I've owned this business now 5.5 years. So when I bought it in 5.5 years ago, there were 18 locations, 18 to 20 locations, how you look at it. So just been trying to grow it ever since.
All right. So Frios Pop, you said modern day ice cream truck. Is that what it is? Is it an ice cream truck, or like, are these individual retail locations? What does a franchise look like at the local level?
It's an ice cream truck. It's a tie-dye wrapped Sprinter van that has a freezer in there with a serving window, and they have speakers and play music, and it's the ice cream truck. We are the modern day. We just jazz it up a little bit rather than maybe some kind of the sketchy ice cream trucks you see in some neighborhoods. Ours are flashy and bright and tie-dye and fun.
That's awesome. So no retail space, no physical location. They're just kind of running routes. Your franchisees at the local level, like, what does it look like? Actually, before I ask that, how the freak did you get into this business? Like, that's kind of a weird, random thing to buy into. Is no kid's like, I want to own a franchise of selling popsicles and ice cream.
Yeah, the quick story is I got stuck in traffic and I was miserable, and I saw a lot of happy people over at the Frios stand. So I stopped, got the key lime pie. Greatest thing that's ever happened to me. Just kept trying it, and then became a franchisee May 1st of 2018. 8 months later, bought the entire company and moved its corporate office to Mobile.
For real, you're sitting in traffic and you're like, I hate my life. Oh, there's some ice cream.
I really did. It's Old Shell Road here in Mobile, 5 o'clock traffic. It's miserable. And I had to go up this street every single day. And I was like, this is miserable. All these people over here are happy. I'm going to go pull over and get one. And I was like, it's like the skies opened up. Colors got more. It's just like, it was an experience. It wasn't about the pop at that point. I was like, man, I was just miserable. Now I'm smiling. It's like, there's something to this.
So tell me, what is I don't know what Frios Pop means. Is that just Spanish for cold pop?
Cold, yeah. I guess that's where the original founder developed it from, but Frios Gourmet Pops. And so we weren't changing the names because people like it. Now, some people call it Frio. Some people say Frios. My mom mistakenly says Fritos, but I say I do not own Fritos, Mom. I wish I did. But
I don't know about Fritos Pop. I don't know if anybody's going to be eating a Fritos popsicle.
No, it's just Frios Pops.
Dude, so what was your background before that? How did you go from, cool, I'm owning this franchise, it's, however well it's doing, to I'm going to buy this whole thing?
Yeah, I was in a family business that my grandfather started out of the trunk of his car with an eighth grade education, sweeping the floors in the oil and gas space my entire life. So
Really?
yeah, I was heading back to school, and my dad, I was helping him out because we had a disaster side of our business when Katrina hit, and I was literally pulling out to go back to school to get my master's. And he's like, "Hey, I need you to withdraw. I need you to join the family business now." So I was an assistant to the dean of the school. I called him up. He said, "You will get more education. You can always come back to school." And I said, "Well, Dad, I got to get all my clothes." Went up, and then from there, just been the family business for 13 years until this started.
That's amazing, man. And is that family business still going on?
Yeah, my older brothers are in it. My mom and dad still run it to this day. I love them. Talk to my parents every day.
You went from sweeping floors at
And I
the
was a sales guy at that
oil
point.
and gas.
I was oil
Sure.
and gas. We were selling to the oil rigs and refineries, all over the country and everything. And so, yeah, I went from that to selling popsicles.
Oh my gosh. You were like,
I didn't know what I was getting. And then I had to tell my wife, who was pregnant with our third child at the time, I was like, "Hey, look, I got a really good life set up over here with this family business. I'm going to go make and sell popsicles for a living." Life is not a dress rehearsal. You only get one shot at this thing. So do what makes you happy. And I just needed to do this to make me happy.
we may be kindred spirits. What is that painting behind you?
Dream big dreams.
How did you get that? What is it? Is it a Banksy?
Yeah, it's not a real Banksy, obviously, but it's.
I know. Yeah.
I wish, but
Well,
no. My wife got it for me because I used to have an Alabama fan, so I used to have an Alabama picture behind me. I was like, but this just means more, and it's got a lot of color to it, and so that's kind of my life. You got to live. That is everyone's life. Dream big dreams. If not, you're just not going to be happy.
I love that. If you're just listening to this, Cliff has a picture behind him. Obviously, it says Dream Big Dreams, but it's very colorful. There's a child standing in it. It's messy. And if you know who the artist Banksy is, it's a Banksy. So this picture that I have behind me is a businessman. He's walking in the rain, but the rains are coming down in colors. And there's a child there as well. The businessman has an umbrella. He's blocking the rain from him. And the child's just open arms, letting the rain hit them in the face. This is not a Banksy, but Banksy helped this like local Danish cooperative paint this, and they now sell it. So anyways, I loved this painting because I'm like, dude, don't ever grow up. Don't take yourself so seriously. Look at that kid. That kid's just enjoying life, loving everything life has to throw at it. Who cares if he's getting a little bit wet? And the businessman's like more concerned about getting to his meeting and, making those facts and figures in the idea machine work than he is about taking in the moment around him. So
That's what that is about me. Always looking up, dreaming that we get to see it every day in this business with our franchisees across the country and myself as well. My kids, it's always like I'm the most popular house in the street because everyone expects me to have Frios. And so the kids don't even show up to say hello. Hey, can we come in? Are your kids here? No, they just go to our freezer and like, can I have a Frios? But
do you drive the van around?
I haven't in a while, I have to admit.
Okay.
With such a larger company now, it's tough to get back in the van. But that's what it's all about. It's like that vision, Nick. I think this all the time. It's like it's that stressful parent, whoever it is, adult. They're in the suit. They're all stressed out from work, and all of a sudden they're with their kids, and you give them a Frios, and they just kind of that visual of just loosening up that tie just a little bit, and just becoming a kid again. And I haven't told this story in a really long time, Nick. Sorry to sidetrack, but it's like what was full circle for me was when I first took over this company. We were trying to get the vision, identity, what it is. And God rest her soul now, she's since passed away. But my neighbor at the time, Miss Ruth, she had just turned 90 years old. And so me and my kids went over there and gave her some Frios Pops. And so the next day I'm finishing up my run and she stops me. She says, "Cliff, I just want you to know those Pops made me feel like a little girl again." And I was like,
oh my gosh,
that's it. I just literally called our entire team. I was like, that's it. It's not what we sell, it's what that pop makes you feel. And it's that sense of happiness. It doesn't matter what you do. For just a couple minutes out of your day, you forget about all the stress, everything that's going on in your world that you can enjoy with a kid. You can be an adult. And so that's what I'm lucky to be in this business, is that we get to share happiness for a living. It's crazy.
Dude, I freaking love that. I'll go on a quick side tangent about me. I had a home health and hospice company. And as weird as it sounds, hospice is death and dying, but I love hospice. I think it's a very intimate experience, and we get a chance to help someone die with dignity.
Right.
I had a son pass away on hospice. I've had grandparents. My sister passed away on hospice 2 years ago. So it's very personal to me. And our company motto was joy through service. Like we were providing joy to these patients by serving them. I, as a manager, was providing joy to my employees by serving them, right? It was like, that was what we were providing to people through our service to them. And just hearing you talk about, hey, we're bringing joy to people through popsicles. It may sound simple, it may sound stupid, but it's awesome that it's so clear to your team to be able to communicate to them, hey guys, we bring joy through popsicles. Come on.
That's what we do. It's like one of the things that is near and dear to the culture of us is giving back throughout our entire culture, family first, happiness, everything else, but it's also giving back. And so when I became a franchisee, one of the first things I implemented to our program was I got a freezer. I put it up at our local children and women's hospital. And I said, doesn't matter what this costs me every year. Every kid that has surgery comes through here, whatever. If they want one, give them one. And then some of the pictures that I got back,
that's beautiful,
no kid deserves to be in that hospital. They did nothing to be sick or get injured. But some of the pictures of the parents would send me, they'd be like, here we are. She just got out of surgery, brain cancer, whatever it may be, but she's smiling right now. And it's just because of a popsicle. That's how simple it is. And it's so pure.
I love that. That's beautiful, Cliff. All right, I hate to even segue because I could talk about this stuff for hours.
Yeah, but this is the important side of the business. There's also other important things, but this is what the why is.
I know people talk about it a lot more recently, but it's something that everybody has to learn at some point, that the business, there has to be a why behind what you're doing. For the most part, we're all competing in the same kind of space, especially in the space you're selling at the end of the day, you're selling popsicles, right? What's your differentiator? Your differentiator is your team and your people and your brand and your ethos. And so if you don't have a good why, people aren't going to buy into that. And if people don't buy into that, you are not going to have a committed team to go above and beyond and provide a level of service that outcompetes other people in the market. So like the why, in my opinion, is always the first thing I do, whether it's in business, whether it's in like personal endeavors. It's like, okay, why are we doing this? What's the point of this? Because if we're going to expend our human capital, we better have a good reason for it. So tell me how, like at the local level, I'm a franchisee. How do I get into the business? I'm assuming there's like a buy-in and then there's some capital expenditures that I need to do. Like how much does it cost me to kind of get started?
Yeah. So on average, you're going to spend anywhere from like $70,000 to $100,000. You buy a territory, which is $37,500. You get what we call the sweet ride, the van.
The sweet ride. I love that.
So you can get carts and stuff. So it's just that onboarding process, because as much as people want to be a part of a franchise, the franchisor has to make sure you're going to fit our culture. And there are times where we say, look, you're not a right fit. You can be successful at other things. You're not going to be successful because you don't fit our culture. So they go through that onboarding process and then they meet all of us at one time. And so we're asking questions to kind of like that final step. And then we either approve them or deny them. And if we approve them, they go through training, onboarding, and then they're off to the races and selling in their territory.
How do you decide how big a territory is?
It's 150,000 people. It's clearly defined. And then we have a mapping system that we go in. We've got them pre-built. There is some wiggle room, but it's all just contiguous zip codes. We draw it up with them and they're happy. We're happy and they're off the races.
What's the ideal profile of a franchisee? Like what type of background do they have? Maybe demographics, how old they are, experience.
Obviously that extrovert, we're in the sales business. You got to be out, you got to be involved in your community, have that salesperson kind of nature in you. And you just want somebody that's getting involved in their community and has that flexibility of what this business, really talks about and deserves. Everyone, when they come into franchising, Nick, and I apologize, I don't know how much you know about it or not, but it's
pretend like I'm an idiot. Yeah, and you'll be just fine.
Here's the thing. Everyone thinks because it's like, do you do it yourself or do it in franchising? Franchising gives you so much more opportunity because we got the resources, tried and true, and training knowledge, everything you need. We say you go in business for yourself, but not by yourself in franchising because you have a team of people supporting you.
Yeah.
But that gives all that false sense of hope that they should be successful day one. And I tell people, look, this might be the simplest business you've ever run. Like we joke, we're like, all you got to do to start your day is lift a serving window and you're set up and ready to go. It's an easy business, but it still requires hard work. People always have to have that understanding that first year is going to be a grind. It might take 2 years to get your ROI, but once you lay those seeds and that groundwork, that's where the gold is. That's where your hard work pays off. So no matter what it is, what your business is, it just allows you to have more resources and support in franchising.
So when you say sales, like, hey, our best franchisees are salesmen at heart, sales people at heart.
Yeah.
How does that work? Because I'm thinking of the ice cream truck that's just driving around. I'm like, that's not really sales. You're just driving around. But I'm also thinking to corporate events that I've been to that have like food trucks there
Exactly.
or community events, those types of things. So like what percentage of your business is coming from the, Uber of ice cream, and what percentage is coming from corporate events?
Oh, it's all,
I guess.
95% of this is from event based. We're an event based business.
Oh,
So it very
okay.
rarely are, because you got to think about it. We want to be efficient as possible. The ice cream person drives around aimlessly, just and the music attracts them. That's it. They don't have a set schedule, set route, anything else. Now we've modernized that with some of our training and resources on how to make that better and be more efficient. And that's part of our training process. But it's also, when I first bought this business, it was brick and mortar. We had 20 locations across the country, give or take, something like that. And it was really hard and I bought 3 territories. And so I had 3 brick and mortar locations. And so I was like, wow, it's a lot of work to get this, which is impossible almost, to get 1,000-person employer to bring all their people for lunch. But they're always asking us to go to them. So you got to mobilize. So my aha moment was during COVID. I was like, wow, we're paying high schoolers to sit and look at TikTok and Instagram. I was like, we wrote our entire FDD. We said, no, this is not us. We're an event-based business. We got to go to the people. So now we're able to, franchisee takes a phone call and, hey, I got 1,000 people for lunch here. Can you come service? We can knock that out in less than an hour. We can hand out popsicles as fast as you want to. Perfect. Boom. That's what they do. Or with our business, because we are prepackaged, a lot of our franchisees have wholesale accounts. So think of places like bars have poptails, which are fun things for them, or country clubs, resorts by the pool during the summertime. So there's a lot of different value add of what we bring to the table rather than just the modern day ice cream truck.
So I'm a franchisee. I think you said it was $37.5 for a territory, another 70 something to get started. So I'm
that's
120 in.
That's kind of like the territory inclusive. Is, but 70 to 100 kinds of includes that 37K.
Okay, cool. So let's say I spend $100,000. And do you have a territory minimum? Is it like 2 or 3 territories, or is it just one? I can buy one.
Well, you can buy 1 or 2. Most people usually right now buy 2 territories.
So let's say I buy one. I invest $100,000 into it. I've got the truck. Yeah. I'm driving around. What, in your experience with your franchisees, what does that translate to? Not first years they're getting up and running, but let's just say they're at stasis. How much revenue does that generate? What's their bottom line look like? I guess what's the max capacity of that one van?
So what we do is, and there's a beautiful thing about, and this might, I hope that's not a long-winded answer, but it's tough to answer that because of the nature of our business, is that with us being what we consider low cost, very low cost actually in the world of franchising, we're not building out big $1 million brick and mortars or anything like that. And so what people do is they're not happy with that daily grind, but they still need the resources of that paycheck coming in from their corporate gig. And so they start out as this is like their side hustle. They're putting in that 20 to 30 hours. So it's not getting the real revenue they can get. They're trying to build that baseline that forces them out of their full-time job.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And so that first year, second year, until they can really like prove this out and they get so busy, they're like, all right, I love it when we get that call or the text or some of our franchisees. We had one franchisee, he's been a soccer coach at a high school for 15 years. He's like, I'm no longer a soccer coach. I'm all in with Frios. So those are what you really want to do. So, we've had franchisees do well north of $200,000 annually in one territory. And so it's all according to what you make it. And we've had some that do maybe $30,000 a year. That's just it.
If you have one territory and let's say you're doing $150,000 a year in revenue, what does a bottom line look like for a franchisee?
So we sell our pops on average around to our franchisees around, let's say $1.50. And then they retail them anywhere from $4 to $6. So there's a really good margin into the product. And then from there, it might be down because of wholesale. What are they doing? Sure. There's a lot of different avenues, and there's no right or wrong answer. Everyone always asks me at the time, like, hey, well, what's the split of wholesale versus event based? Like I've got some that are all in on wholesale, and that's the model they love. And I've got some that are all in on big corporate events and schools and everything else. So it's really tough. We're a high cash business, so we do have a fixed royalty. And that was one of the first things I did. I took away the percent royalty that all franchisees usually charge. And I said, look, we're not going to punish your success. So I know there's the volatility in this business of, are you seasonal or are you not? What are you doing? So it's a fixed royalty. You're going to know every month what we're pulling out of your account. And so we're not going to punish your success. So if you want to be wildly successful, that's more money in your pocket.
So if I did 150,000 in top line,
Mm-hmm.
what would an average percentage or like average bottom line be? You can give me a range if you wanted.
What do you mean on the bottom line? Like, what are you taking home?
Net income. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, that's so tough for me to answer. And I wish I had a better answer.
If you don't want to answer it, that's fine too. I was just
not
curious, kind of like
to. It's just like it's all
variable.
It's very variable. Anywhere you'd hope, anywhere I don't know the answer. I don't want to give you an answer that I don't know the answer because there's lots of different.
Okay, I'm going to say a number. I'm going to say a number, and then you tell me whether you're surprised or not surprised by the number. I'm a franchisee. I do 150 top line, and I bring home, like net income, 75,000. Surprised, not surprised?
Yeah, I wouldn't be that surprised.
Okay. So if I'm a franchisee, I'm growing, I get to that like 100,000, 150,000, 200,000, whatever mark. And I'm like, oh, there's more opportunity either in this territory or other territories. What do I do? Like, do you have multiple vans in a territory?
You can have as many vans as you want. So the benefit of us, like one van is around $100,000, but you don't need another $100,000 investment. You might get multiple carts, push carts that we have. They're around 5,000. You can be in multiple places. I mean, a given weekend, especially during the busy season, you might have to be in 5 events at one time. So you don't need 5 vans at $500,000. You might need one van, a cart here, cart there, whatever it may be.
Because you said 150,000 people was the territory. So 150,000 people in, I don't know, Biloxi, Mississippi is different than 150,000 people in Miami.
Yeah,
right? Like I could get a couple push carts, and I don't even know if I need a van in Miami with 150,000 people because I'm just downtown selling popsicles. But in, middle America, I need the car in order to reach 150,000 people. Exactly. That's interesting.
The van is more like the marketing. You see it going down the road. It's there. It's vibrant. It's loud. People are like, oh, I want to be a part of this. That's what it's all about. It's hard to do it in a cart.
I'm new to the franchise game. I've only, bought and sold businesses, but franchising is very interesting to me. And it's only in the last few months as I've had more conversations with people who run franchises. You're one of them. Aaron Harper from Rolling Suds is one of them. I'm trying to think, there's been a couple other people I've spoken to, but I am becoming more and more convinced that for first-time entrepreneurs, it's as good, if not better, than any other alternative because of, like you said, you've got the systems down, you've got the branding down, you've got a proven track record and history. They're helping you pick a location. Potentially they're helping you suss out how to grow. There's other people that have done this thing. Like there's so many things that are tailwinds for your success. That being said, I've also found out there's variation within the franchise world. Like people who have a Chick-fil-A franchise don't actually own the franchise. The Chick-fil-A owns it. Yeah. They're a highly compensated employee. They have a rev share, and that's awesome for them, but they're not actually franchisees. How does your franchise work? Like, do they own that territory and they're able to sell it if they wanted to? Obviously, they have to get your approval, but they own it.
They own it out. It is their business. And that's what we say about franchise. That's why I love this business model is because, yes, people call me all the time that have their own ice cream shop. They're like, oh, well, what about this? What about that? It's like, well, if you're a franchisee, we could set up all this marketing for you. We can give you all the collateral you need. We can give you all the training that you need. But if you go in business, it doesn't matter if it's ice cream, if it's power washing, if it's mosquito, anything, you can do it by yourself. You can go far by yourself, but you can go a long ways with a team of people, whatever that saying is. So why not have a team of people supporting you? And when you put that head on your pillow, you got a team of people supporting you. You're not there by yourself. Now, it is your business. You got to make what you want out of it. But if you've got issues, it's not, you got to figure it out. It's like, hey, franchisor, have you ever dealt with this? Yeah, we actually have training on this. We've dealt with this 1,000,000 times.
Oh, dude, I bet you close really well.
I got out of the sales game. Allison does a great job. I miss it. I enjoy it.
Oh, you don't meet any of the potential franchisees anymore?
I used to be from the first call to the last call, but now I just can't. It's just so much time, and I've got to do what's best for the company and the future growth and opportunities we have there.
Here's a random question for you. You ever think about like national partnerships, Live Nation, let's say, or I'm trying to think like who owns multiple big events, businesses, concerts?
Yeah, we do that from time to time. Yep. We partnered with the PGA before, and there's a great one. Like when the TV crew always seems to ping on one child or something like that. It was a great missed marketing because this girl was covered in one of our Frios chocolate pops like she was at this PGA Tour event in Oklahoma. there in Tulsa. And she didn't have the wrapper on there, and her hand was like all covered, so you couldn't see it was a Frios. I knew it was because we did the deal with them, and they kept going back to her. They were like, "Here's a shot." Oh, this girl, like, they were talking about how hot it was, and like this girl just having the time of her life. And I was like, "Oh,
dude, you should see. You should see if you could use that video from them, because you could just impose like Frios pop, like just something funny, so that people know, oh, she's eating a Frios pop. Anyways, I think that'd be hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Okay, customer acquisition costs. So if I'm a franchisee, how am I acquiring a customer? Not like you said, not the 5% where they're driving around in the van, but the events, the corporate customers. How are they finding them and acquiring them?
So one of the things we do with our mapping service is we're able to geolocate all these, if it's a church, if it's school, all the different places we want them calling. We can put that into a spreadsheet for them, and we start them off with, here's 100 plus leads for your territory. Just start calling. And then they have all the training mechanisms on how to talk to them. Who do you ask for? Like, what do you say? Here's an email template, all that. And then it's the groundwork of either call, drop. I mean, pop drops are great. Sales is my thing. I love it. And so I tell them how to get to the gatekeeper, get past the gatekeeper. And so often it's like, hey, you know what? We're just going to stop by, bring you a couple of Frios pops, let you try them. And then once you've done
it's
that,
the easiest thing.
Exactly. I can't tell you how many.
Summertime?
Yeah.
Summertime, go to a corporate place. You're like, hey, I just want to bring some popsicles by, drop it by. Like, those are going to get eaten.
Do it.
Even if they're bad popsicles.
You can do it. I mean, I ask everybody all the time, do you stop putting ice in your drink just because it's cold? No. It was like, so I had one of our franchisees like, look, we just did a big event. It's snowing in, I forget, I think it was in Michigan maybe. It was like 3 foot of snow, and they're eating popsicles inside by a fire because you don't stop eating ice cream. You don't stop eating cold things. It's just, you're not doing big outdoor
It lasts
events.
longer.
You just go inside. Exactly. You just go inside.
It lasts longer when it's cold. You go outside, you eat that popsicle. It's not melting.
Nah,
you're good.
Yeah.
What about paid acquisition? Are you guys doing any SEO? I guess that's not paid, but SEO paid through Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, any of that stuff?
Yeah, we got an amazing marketing person with Jen. She's over all that. What she does is amazing. And I don't fully understand how she pulls it all off. But I mean, every once in a while, she'll click that right ad and it just resonates. You can just see like our lead gen, like bing, 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 new lead.
Yeah.
So it's like she's always like tweaking it and saying this is the right picture, whatever it is. And there's also broker groups in the franchising space that we have tons of people that represent tons of brands. But, for us, it resonates with a lot of people. And so then therefore we pay them a commission too as we sign on their candidates.
If you were to assign a percentage of where your leads or your sales come from, customers come from, I should say, into two buckets, one being the traditional pound the pavement, go and get customers in the community, and then this sort of digital space, the paid ads, the Google, the Facebook, et cetera. What percentage comes from each one of those buckets?
On a franchisee level, I would say it's probably 80% getting out there and it's organic leads. It's always, hey, I was at this event. I had your popsicle. I work for this company. And it's even with our franchisees, they're like, oh my God, I had your popsicle when I was visiting a family member. I don't have anything like that here. I need to have this. So a lot of our lead gen comes organically of just finding out the brand, be press, podcasts like this. Mm-hmm. And then I would say probably the remainder 20 is paid organic. It's out there like paying to find them.
Do you do any direct to consumer?
No, not for us.
No. So Chris Kerner, my business partner, I always say we, but it was technically his company. He has a company now called Texas Snacks, and they buy Buc-ee's snacks and they ship those to people who are not near a Buc-ee's location. He buys those at full retail.
I've heard about that. Yeah.
But the reason he got into that space was because 3PL, third-party logistics, for shipping food is a nightmare. And so the original company was called Send Eats, and they would send food across the country. And then it's morphed now into Texas Snacks. But originally that was their idea, is we're going to send food. And one of their popular customers was, I can't remember what it was. It was something cold, something frozen that they shipped across the country. But he was like, it's a nightmare to have to ship cold stuff.
Look, I manufacture all the popsicles that my franchisees buy. We ship a lot. It is not fun. It is not a fun business to be in, shipping frozen product.
Oh my gosh.
That's a whole nother podcast on shipping frozen product.
What's your goal with this business? It seems like you've grown a lot from 18 to, what'd you say, 140?
111.
111. You've sold 20 already this year. I mean, that's more than a 20% clip of year-over-year growth just in the number of franchisees. Are you planning on growing pretty aggressively? Is this all? Yeah, let's start there.
We're at that point now. We're ready to grow real aggressively. We've got the systems and processes in place. And yeah, I just think we're that next big thing. Everyone knows Kona Ice. They're out there. They got 1,600 locations across the country. I just think we're the next Kona Ice. We're in the frozen space. We have the same clientele, same business model, same everything. I just think we could be as big as Kona Ice.
Are you bootstrapping this, or have you gone out, raise money, or are you thinking about?
I passed the hat with friends and family, but no private equity, anything like that. No anything else. Just all passing the hat, and I'm really, really invested.
That's good. That's good. You want to control as much as possible for as long as possible. That's for darn sure. All right. I got some rapid fire questions for you. You ready?
Sure.
All right. What do you love about this business?
Seeing people be happy. That's it. I mean, the fact that there's so much craziness going on in this world, and I know every day we're putting smiles on people's faces. This is an amazing thing.
What do you hate about it?
Trying to make everyone feel like they're heard and happy. It's impossible when you got 70, 80 franchisees. Everyone might have a singular issue, but it really hurts when you can't do something for one person because it's not for the greater good.
A lot of guys in the world, like I shouldn't say guys, business owners in general, are jealous of real estate because they're like, oh man, it must be so easy. You own some real estate, you collect some cash, it appreciates a little bit faster than inflation. And then the real estate guys are looking at the business guys and are like, man, it must be so nice. Own a business, grow it, get some cash flow. You can flex up and down with your spending. We all suffer from like the grass is greener effect. As you sit here in 2024, what businesses or industries are you jealous of?
Oh, goodness. You're nailing it because I see my father-in-law, he's in real estate and I can see him sitting back. He's made his life now. He's good. And I was like, what's your day at the office compared to mine? So probably not the best, but I guess I keep the blinders on. I'm where I need to be, exactly where I am.
Sure.
But it's just those bigger franchisees that have the bigger systems and processes that I want, but we're just not there yet to afford it and can do it. So it's the people I have.
Yeah, and I asked that question not as like, what do you wish you were doing instead of this? It's more like, what are some of the aspects of those businesses that you're jealous of? Real estate obviously comes up a lot. Commercial real estate is the one I'm getting the most of recently.
No, mine is strictly just the bigger franchisor to have all these amazing systems and processes and 30 people on their team. We're just not there yet.
You'll get there. What are you obsessed with right now? Like if you had 2 hours in your day, you could sit down, kids are gone, you don't have to work on anything with work. It could be outside activity, it could be inside activity. Like just what are you obsessed with at the moment?
You shouldn't ask this, but it's sports cards. I'm really into sports cards. It's something that
go on.
I try to teach my son. Like my son is 10, my oldest son is 10, and it's like, how can I teach him the value of the dollar? He found my old sports cards when I was a kid, and so now he's obsessed with them. So I gave him he had some money from birthdays and everything, and I gave him a little money. I set up an account for him. And so now I'm teaching the value of a dollar. I was like, hey, you want to buy more sports cards, but you got to go sell some. Like if you look right over here, I got a stack of cards that I was trying to organize for him and help him a little bit. So when I need to break away from the desk, I go through these sports cards and try to help him sell some and everything. But yeah, even went in with family members and got some pretty big.
What sport?
Well, just the major sports: basketball, football, baseball.
Is there one that you love?
I mean, we got our biggest card is we got a Michael Jordan rookie card that's graded very high, so it's up there.
That's incredible, man. Yeah. How long have you had it?
We've been holding on to this card for about a year now, and actually, my biggest one. It's actually I'm sending it off to Golden Auction right now. I don't know when this podcast goes out, but one of my passion projects was I went on an endeavor to collect every single one of Tiger Woods' 15 majors final round tickets from there. I got them all graded, and I'm sending them off to Golden to go on their website and sell them off. So it's never been done before that I know of. So that's
awesome. Collected the Infinity Stones, and now you're.
So there you go. I could talk for that for hours, like you said.
I love that. The reason I like it is because it's something that satisfies my intellectual curiosity. I love sports, but I also love stats. And I love seeing like, okay, in this year, this person did this, and the card is physical, it's tangible. I have some cards, old cards, but they're crappy cards. But That's been a huge boon since COVID. The memorabilia space just exploded.
It's crazy. And so that's what it is. It's like, I still like the salesman spot of it. Like, oh, if I get this card or whatever it is, like, oh, do I sell it now? Do I, like my son, this is where he really got the twinge for it, is like my parents took him and he got $100 box of cards or something. And he pulled a Paolo Banchero out of 10 autograph, and I ended up selling for him for $5,500. And so I was like, you got some extra money in your account now.
And dude, and that's how they get you with the cards too. It's like a gamble. It's like, what am I going to get out of this pack?
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? It's like when we were young and everything, we were doing it. And so I was like, now these boxes are way more expensive. But I was like, you just can't go buy whatever you want, bud. It's like, do you have money in your account? No, you better go sell some cards. So that's what I love about it. It's fun. It's something I can do with my kids. And now my 5-year-old son is into Pokemon cards. I have no idea what all that is, but I just love it. It's something I can relate. I could be a kid again. I know the experience, but also do it as an adult.
I love that. I think that's my favorite thing. I've done 30 of these interviews now. That's been the best obsession that I've heard. Thank you. Most of the time people are like, I'm just obsessed with growing my business. It's like, no, okay, can we like get real for a second?
Every day. I need something to break free of the craziness, and like sports cards is just my mental break, and enjoy it.
I love it. All right. Last question. What advice would you give yourself 10 years ago?
It's always going to be tougher than you think it is. Whatever best laid plan you have out there, just know that people have done it before you, and it is a grind. There's going to be sleepless nights, long days, everything else, but you just don't give up. Like, I just don't give up. And so many people are so close to greatness and they just quit.
Yep.
Just not my DNA. So I wish I'd have told myself it's going to be a lot harder than the groundwork I laid out, but I am where I am.
All right. Cliff Kennedy, Frios Pop, where's the best place for people to find you?
LinkedIn. And I'm getting back on. I took a little hiatus from X. I needed a break, and I'm getting back on. I got back on yesterday, so I'm on X too.
Cliff, this has been rad, man. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you having me, pal.
I see it. All right. That's it. Another one for the books. I'm fired up. I don't know what else to say. I hope you found something valuable in that conversation. I hope you learned something. I hope there's something that you can apply to your business today, tomorrow, in the future that makes you money, makes you more successful, gives you more time with your kids. If there was something, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Give me some feedback. And if you like actionable advice and you want more of this, I write a weekly newsletter that gives insights, tips, and tricks into the world of entrepreneurship. Subscribe in my bio. And if I can help you in any way in your entrepreneurial journey, don't hesitate to reach out to me, nick@cofounders.com. Sorry, Kelly, for more emails. And the last thing is, remember, curiosity is a superpower, and you can use it to your advantage. As my mom used to say, there's no such thing as a dumb question, only dumb people. We'll see you next time.